Hi guys. This is not the video I hoped I'd be bringing to you, but it's the video that I need to bring to you. I didn't think I'd cry right away. I am getting over a cold, so don't mind my nasally voice. I'm probably going to cry anyway, which is going to make me nasally anyway, so it doesn't really affect it. But sorry, my voice is raspy and I'm nasally. As you can tell by the title, I had a miscarriage, and I didn't know what I should title it. I didn't know if I should say my chemical pregnancy, or I had a chemical pregnancy, or I had a miscarriage, or my early miscarriage, or whatever, but the truth is it was a miscarriage, and I don't like labeling it as a chemical pregnancy because even though it was early, that baby was still and is still my baby, and it hurts still, no matter how early it is. So I guess I'll just start from the beginning, but I want to start with why I wanted to share this. And as you all know, I share almost everything about motherhood and pregnancy, and some of you knew that we were trying for another baby and want more children. And I felt like I couldn't just hide this part of our life and journey, if you want to call it that, but it's a part of it, and this is our life, and this is reality, and I didn't want to shove it down. This is like how I'm gonna process it, and I'm hoping that it can just bring peace, or I don't know, help someone, or me, even me. I wanted to do it soon after it happened so that everything was raw and you got my real emotions. But I also wanted to do it when I was calm and collected. But I didn't want to act like it wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't bothering me, because that could get the wrong message across too. So I thought I'd meet somewhere in the middle so that you get me raw and real, but also not blubbering on camera. So it's been a few weeks now. It's been about 3 weeks since the miscarriage, and that still is pretty soon to be talking about it, but I do feel like I can keep myself collected a little bit, hopefully, with you still getting my real emotions throughout all of it. So I guess I'll just start explaining. I'll just start from the beginning. So this happened about 3 weeks ago, but I'll rewind even more than that. So in about December, I thought I was pregnant, and I was only 5 months postpartum, and it was kind of scary because I was like, oh my gosh, my baby's only 5 months old, and if I'm pregnant, that is going to be a roller coaster. I wasn't pregnant, but that made me want to be pregnant. So in January/February, we decided to start trying for baby number 2, which is pretty soon, I know, but I felt mentally ready, physically ready, and I just felt like I wanted our kids to be really close in age, if that was God's will. And so we just decided to start trying. And every month, I would think I was pregnant, and I wasn't.
Get me a little bit.
Why is this such a big deal?
Saying 2 lines.
No! I'm so mad.
Wisdom teeth. Ready?
No.
I'm gonna flip it. Is it under here?
Yeah.
Is it right side up?
Yeah, it is. Nothing. Why does this keep happening? I was getting really scared because it was about 6 months, 7 months of trying and nothing. And I was thinking, like, with our daughter, it was so easy. Like, we didn't even try. It was like we decided to stop not trying, and then all of a sudden that same day, pretty much, I got pregnant, and it was just so easy, and it was such a blessing. And this time it's not like that. It was going 6-7 months with nothing, and I was getting scared because it wasn't like my body, and it was painful to go month after month without a positive. And it really made me feel for all the moms who don't get to have a baby ever, or have trouble getting pregnant for years and years. And I'm just so thankful that I got to have one baby, but it made it really hard not being able to get pregnant with a second baby. And I know it hasn't been that long. I know people go years and years without getting pregnant, but it was just a hard thing for me. I was expecting to get pregnant right away, and I thought, well, maybe I'm being taught a lesson. Maybe I'm being taught a lesson on patience and waiting, and it definitely taught me that my plans mean nothing. I don't get to control my life, and I'm learning that a lot. Well, in July, I had a wedding on the 11th of July. I have a lot of stomach problems, so I normally take medication before I go do a wedding, which I'm a makeup artist, so I can't really get sick doing that. So I take medicine before I go to weddings to prevent getting sick. That morning, I woke up and I just had a really weird feeling that I need to take a pregnancy test, because we had been trying, and I had been praying and praying that month that I would just trust God in His timing, that we'd get pregnant when it was the right time, and to not worry about it. And so I had an odd feeling that month I was going to get pregnant. So on the 11th, I woke up before the wedding. I told Josh, I was like, I think I need to take a pregnancy test. I don't think I'm pregnant, but I need to know so I don't take that medication if I am pregnant, because you're not supposed to take it when you're pregnant. So I took a test, and I've taken many tests the past 7 months, 8 months, and none of them have said positive. So I wasn't expecting a positive. But I took it, and it was blank. It was nothing, just the control line. And then my husband had to leave to go to work. But before he left, I was like, I think I see something on there. And he's like, no, you don't. Like, it's in your head. That's just a shadow. There's always a shadow there. And so he left. And of course, I'm staring at it for longer. I think every mom or every person who's taken a pregnancy test can understand what I'm saying. And sure enough, there was a faint little line there. So I showed my husband, and we decided it was probably good if we took another test, like an early response test in the morning, because this is before I missed my period. I was only about 11 or 10 days past ovulation, so barely pregnant if I was. So we decided to get a first response early detection pregnancy test for the next day. And the next day was my daughter's first birthday party, just a really small thing with my parents, my sister and her family, and then my husband's family. So we got a first response, and we are early tellers, because my thing is that baby, whether 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, is still my baby. And if I'm gonna have a miscarriage, then I would like people to pray for me and pray that I don't have a miscarriage, and pray for the health of my baby. And we like to tell early because we're excited and we want people praying for our baby. So I was like, oh my gosh, it would be perfect if I was pregnant that we could tell everyone at the birthday party. So we took the first response in the morning, and the line was there. And I don't know if you'll be able to see these ones either, but these ones were for sure a positive. But they were clearly a positive, darker than the day before. So I was like, oh my gosh, we're finally pregnant. I couldn't believe it. I honestly, it wasn't even like a big thing, because we both were like, so we're pregnant? Or was that an evaporation line yesterday? Like, even though we had these two positives, we both were kind of like, it was very anticlimactic, because we didn't know how to feel about it. And I just had a weird feeling like I couldn't get as excited for this as I did with my daughter's pregnancy. And I don't know if it was because I'd had so many months of disappointment of negative tests the past half a year or what, but I just couldn't, like, it didn't feel real. So then as the day went on, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm really pregnant, like, this is an answered prayer, and we were ecstatic. We did end up telling my family at the birthday party.
Everyone say Hazel's gonna be a big sister.
I was front rower to Angie on that.
And I was about 3 weeks, 4 days pregnant, or 3 weeks, 5 days, so barely detectable. And I hadn't gone to the doctor yet, so it was just these pregnancy tests. So I was like, I need to take another one to make sure the line is getting darker. I know some people say that doesn't really show you, like, if your HCG is going up, but everything that I've seen on pregnancy tests, like, the lines do get darker the further along you get. So I was like, I need to take another test in 2 days to make sure the line gets darker, because in early pregnancy, your HCG level should double every 2 days. So the line should be getting darker. I got my other test out, and 2 days later I tested again. I already know I'm pregnant. The tests were just really, really faint because I haven't even missed a period yet. And I'll have to explain later why I took those tests in the first place. But I just want to make sure everything's good, so I'm going to take another one to make sure it gets darker. And I'm really scared. I'm really scared. I really want to be pregnant, and I know I am. But I just want to make sure everything's good. So we're going to do that. And sure enough, it was a dark positive. Here is the dark positive. It looks even darker in person. But at that point, I was feeling very confident that this was a healthy pregnancy. My HCG was doubling. It wasn't a chemical pregnancy, and I was feeling really excited. I felt like finally comfortable that I saw the lines getting darker and that I was for sure pregnant. At this point, I wasn't feeling too many symptoms. I was just really tired. Again, I wasn't even 4 weeks pregnant yet. I didn't even miss a period yet, so that was how early it was, and I was getting really excited because I was pregnant, finally. The day I took the darkest test was on July 14th. And then on July 20th, I woke up and I had some pink spotting. And I had some pink spotting with my daughter's pregnancy at about 11 weeks. So I was trying not to panic because I know some people do spot, and it was just pink. So I ran upstairs and I told my husband, like, I'm spotting. It's kind of freaky, but I'm trying to keep my cool. And then I just kind of forgot about it, and around 3 or 4 hours later, I went to the bathroom and it had switched to bright red. And I knew we had an issue at that point. So I called my OB office, and they asked me, you know, when my last period was and how much I'm bleeding, and she told me that I should come in and get my HCG levels tested. I'd get a blood test, and we would check it again in 2 days because it was too early to see the baby on an ultrasound. So I went in, and I was trying to tell myself it's okay. Everyone's pregnancy is so different. Some people bleed full on, and it's fine. And so I was just trying to tell myself. I didn't have any cramping at that point, so I was trying to stay calm. I got to the doctor's, and they took my blood, and I left, and that's it. And on the way home, I just knew. I just knew I had lost the baby. I don't know if it was like mother's intuition or I just was anxious about it, but I knew at that point, or I thought. And I got the call 2 hours later that my HCG levels were pretty low. It was a level 10, and that was pretty low for my point in pregnancy. So I did need to come in the next 2 days later. I needed to come in 2 days later to get the second test, and I got the second test, and my levels were at a 4, so back down to almost what someone who's not pregnant would be. And I kind of started the whole grieving process on that Monday, which I felt kind of guilty because I was like, I don't even have confirmation that I lost the baby. But I just felt like I knew, and I didn't want to get my hopes up. So I, told my husband that I'm pretty sure I am having a miscarriage, and I told our family. And of course, we're all praying that that's not the case. We're all praying that my levels would double, and everything would be fine. But on that Wednesday when I went in, I got my results and they were at a 4. So they told me that that was pretty much like what someone who's not pregnant would have. Their levels would be about a 4 or lower, and they confirmed a miscarriage. So that was not fun. I felt like I would be prepared for that news because I had already thought that happened on Monday. But when I got the confirmation, it just hit me harder and all over again. And I knew at that point because the day before I had already passed the baby, or what I thought was the tissue, and I just already kind of knew. But it was just like someone spelling it out for me. And so that was really hard, and that was a hard night for me and my husband, and I assume the rest of our family too. And then I bled for about a week, and then it was done. And the hardest parts about the bleeding was it was so painful. It was way more painful than a period, and for such a terrible reason. Every time I went to the bathroom, it was just a constant reminder. Sorry, I don't mean to get so choked up, but this is the first time really talking about it, and it's hard. But every time I went to the bathroom, it was like a reminder. And every time I was in pain, it was like a reminder. And it wasn't even just getting my period on months that I wasn't pregnant was really sucky because I wanted to be pregnant so bad, and that was hard. But having so much pain and bleeding because you were pregnant and then you lost your baby is so much harder. At least for me it was. It just felt so weird knowing that I had a baby inside me that I wanted so bad, and we wanted so bad and prayed for. And then it's just gone. We just lost it, and there's nothing we could have done to stop it. Those 3 days were probably the hardest days that I've ever had, and if one good thing that I can see that came from this right now, I don't even want to call it a good thing, but in a way it is that I have so much more empathy for mothers who have lost a baby early or later or whenever, and I have so much more empathy for mothers who can't get pregnant or have a hard time getting pregnant. I don't think I understood, obviously there's no way you can understand the pain of losing a baby or having a miscarriage until you have one. There's just nothing that can make you understand what it feels like until you have to feel it. And like I said earlier, it was kind of hard to get excited about this pregnancy, and I don't know if that was God protecting me or my womanly instincts that it wasn't gonna go full term and we wouldn't meet this baby. But it's still hard, and I wasn't even attached. I mean, I loved that baby, but it's still hard, even though it didn't feel real even. I know there was a reason that this happened, and I know it's going to be used for something great because God promises that. God promises that He'll work all things together for the good of those who love Him. And I know that there is a reason for this, and it's going to work out for something, whether I can see it now or whether I can't see it now or ever. But I know that baby's life was special, and it taught me a lot of things just in the short amount of time that I knew I had a baby in me. my husband wrote a small poem about the baby and about us finding out, and something he said in it was like, we only knew about the baby for about a week and a half, but already in a week and a half we could picture exactly what our life would look like with it in our family and in our new house, and just almost like planned out our whole life with another baby. And now we don't even get to meet it on this earth. I just hope and pray one day that I'll get to hold it and meet it in heaven. It's just hard thinking of like who they'd be and what they'd become and what they'd add to the family, and that we'll never hug or kiss them here. And it's just like, I don't know, every time I go to our new house it's still so exciting, but I think like I'll never see that baby run and play with Hazel, and I'll never tuck it into bed at night in that house. And it sounds dramatic. I know it sounds dramatic, but that's how it feels because I really love it. Another hard thing about this whole thing was knowing what pregnancy feels like, knowing what it feels like to grow a human and love that human, and anticipating all those things and being so excited for it, and then it doesn't happen. Like, I know what pregnancy feels like. I know how much I love being pregnant and know how much I love growing my child inside me, and then it just doesn't happen, and it's just like a hole, like a big, deep hole, and my being feels empty. This whole time that we've been trying to get pregnant, every night I pray to God, thy will be done, and I mean it. But it's hard when God's will is not what I want. And I know that's not how life works. It doesn't get to be just whatever I want. And I know God's plan is better than mine. But it just really stinks. And I can't see the reason for it yet. But I saw a quote and it said, when we pray thy will be done, it sometimes means our will be undone. It's something like that. I'll put it on the screen. But that is so true. I pray it every night, thy will be done. And I mean it. And I really ponder what that means. And you know what? My life is in God's hands. And that baby's life was in God's hands. It is in God's hands. I trust that that baby is with Jesus. I wanted to honor this baby's life. I didn't get to make pregnancy updates with this baby. I didn't get to do an exciting announcement. I didn't get to do all the things I got to do with Hazel. And I wanted to honor this baby's life. And honoring this baby's life is sharing with you that God is good even in terrible times. And honoring this baby's life is sharing that it was a life. And it was a loved life. I don't know how much I can say that. I just wanted to let you guys know what's been going on and share, even though I don't want to share. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to face it. I don't want to say it out loud, but I wanted to share with you. I know that God is near to me, and He loves me, and He has great plans for me and Josh and Hazel. But I just want to end this video by saying that I'm trusting God through this, and God does not break promises. He keeps His promises, and God is our Father and our Comforter and Healer, and He does not break His promises, and I know He has great plans for me. Jeremiah 29:11, Romans 8:28. And I know God is near to the brokenhearted. I just want to say thank you for reaching out to me, those of you who have reached out to me and have been praying for us. I would still really appreciate prayers because it's been really hard, especially when people come up to me saying, it's time for another one. When are you going to have another baby? Oh, come on, get on it. Are you pregnant yet? It's like, it's really hard. And it makes you want to just snap at them. Just say, I just lost my baby. Like, as we speak, as you're telling me this, I'm losing my baby. So I would really appreciate prayers to be gracious to those people who say things like that to me. And I would really appreciate prayers for just trusting in God in this time. And also please pray for my husband and the rest of our family, because I know it's hard on them as well. I just want to share this because I know this happens way more than people think. And especially being early, I know a lot of people feel like they shouldn't be able to grieve a loss that early, but that baby is a baby. It was a life, and that was your baby, and you have the right to grieve it. So I just want to make this for comfort of someone else, or I mainly want to make this for the glory of God, because even though this sucks, He's going to use it for His glory, and I want to praise Him through this. Even though I might not like what's going on, but I think that's it. I know there's probably things I forgot to mention or things that are blurry, but thank you for watching. I will see you back soon. Bye.